Directed IRA Saturday here with Quest Trust Company. My name is Haley Gant. I work very closely with the rest of our marketing team to help put on all of these webinars for you guys. And today I am very excited to have Brad Sumrock here with us today talking about the Millionaire Multifamily Framework. So if you guys are not familiar with Brad Sumrock, he is one of the top apartment syndication educators in the country. Get a little tongue-tied there. But him and his students have bought thousands of units across the country, billions of dollars worth of apartments. And he's got a really cool strategy. He's got a lot of really great events coming up for you guys, especially if you are in Dallas or in the next upcoming weeks. But before we get started with today's main presentation, I do just have a couple of quick announcements for you guys, kind of as we let people get signed on here. For those of you guys who are not familiar with Quest Trust Company, at the core of our business, we are a self-directed IRA custodian. So we basically teach investors how to utilize their old 401ks and IRAs to kind of diversify and invest into assets outside of the stock market. So our clients at Quest use their IRAs to invest into real estate deals, private placements, apartments, private lending. You really have a lot of different options when you're investing with an IRA. And some of the biggest benefits of this is that it allows you to kind of diversify what types of investments you invest your IRA into. And not only that, but all of the profit from these deals goes back into your IRA, either completely tax deferred or tax free, depending on what type of account you're investing with. So that's kind of what we do as a business, but we also love to educate investors along the way. So physically, our offices are in Houston, Austin, and Dallas. We actually have classrooms in all three of our offices where we host monthly mixers. We're going to start hosting lunch and learns at the beginning of the new year, which is really exciting. But we do have clients all across the country. We operate in all 50 states. And as you can see from today, we host a lot of online webinars as well. So our education can reach you even if you are not in the state of Texas. Now, the most important bullet point on this slide here is, of course, the disclaimer here in bright yellow at the bottom. Please be aware that at Quest, we do not give tax, legal, or investment advice. We put on a lot of education. We bring out a lot of different guest speakers to our events, but please make sure that you are doing your own due diligence before you enter into investments, whether it's with your IRA, whether you're using other people's IRA funds. You want to make sure that you're structuring these deals correctly. You've done your homework, you've done your due diligence, and please do not rush into deals with individuals that you have not properly vetted. Now that that's out of the way, today's class is just one of many classes that we host here at Quest. We actually have live webinars every Tuesday, every Saturday. I actually need to update that slide there. But we are also really excited that we're finally bringing back our in-person mixers in each of our 3 cities. So if you're not, local to Houston, Austin, or Dallas, you can always watch all of our classes online. We stream everything on YouTube, and you can always watch the archived videos of our classes right here on our YouTube channel as well. So if you guys have not yet, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got to throw it in there. It really helps us out. And it's been really cool to see this online platform grow over the last year. Just last month, we had over 50,000 minutes of content watched on our YouTube channel. So we're really happy to be providing this education for you guys. And last but not least on this slide here is the virtual networking happy hours. So this is an event that was created out of the pandemic that, we couldn't really attend a lot of events in person at the time, but we are continuing to host this on the first and third Wednesday of every month. It's basically an online happy hour through Zoom. You get to meet about 30 to 40 other real estate investors, all within about an hour and a half from all across the country. And it's a really fun event. We all have a drink together. I host a lot of these happy hours myself. So be sure to check out our events on our website. I will post some links for you guys after I finish these announcements. That way you can check out our other events and exciting things that we have coming up for you. Now, speaking of the in-person mixers, I've already dropped this a couple of times throughout this introduction because honestly, I'm just really excited about it. If you were familiar with Quest before COVID, you know that we used to host really big mixers and parties and classes in our offices every single month. and we have finally brought them back. Within about the last month and a half, I've actually taken over booking all of our speakers and topics for these events. So I can personally let you guys know we have some really exciting topics coming up. For the month of November, we've already hosted the Houston Social, but we do have Austin coming up next week on next Tuesday. And then we have Dallas coming up on the following Tuesday. I think that is November 16th. The theme of this month's self-directed IRA socials is it's a fun little event that we call Harvest Your Wealth, where basically we have brought out a panel of real estate experts, again, in both Austin and Dallas. And basically, this panel is all about how investing in real estate and self-directed IRAs have helped them build and harvest their wealth over the years. So we hosted this event in Houston last week. You can find the replay right here on YouTube. And it's a really great event. We're really excited to be bringing these back. And in December, we'll be hosting a big holiday party speed networking event. So if you have not already, be sure to put these on your calendars. And again, if you're not local, you can watch them online as well. Now, I know we have a lot going on right now. It's really excited to see our in-person events start coming back, but we actually have a really big online conference coming up on December 3rd and 4th. So we're actually just under a month away. And yes, we host a lot of classes and webinars every week, but QuestCon Live is actually a bit of a larger scale event. It's a full 2-day online self-directed IRA conference. And the theme of this QuestCon that is coming up is Forecasting 2022. So we have basically invited out about 20 different guest speakers. We will have keynote presentations. We'll be having panel discussions throughout all day, Friday and Saturday. And basically, we're going to be talking about where is the market now? How did we get here? What's coming up for next year? And what are some of the kind of popular investment strategies that people are doing right now as we move forward into the new year? So tickets to QuestCon are on sale now. It's $49 to attend. Pre-sale actually ends at the end of this weekend. So be sure to get your tickets. And Brad will actually be one of our keynote speakers at QuestCon Live. So not only will I post the link for you guys, but I'm also going to post his discount code, which gets you an additional 30% off. Even if you're watching this replay, that coupon is valid up through the event. So come join us at QuestCon. It'll be a great event. Our team is working really hard behind the scenes to put these panels and keynotes together for you guys. So come out and join us. It'll be a great event. And then in 2022, we will hopefully be bringing back the Quest Expo in person. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, I know that's a lot in my quick 6 minutes. I've done these announcements for you guys, but if you have questions, reach out to us. We're always happy to help. We're just a phone call or email away. Or if you're online on our website during the week, you can simply just live chat with an IRA specialist. And that is actually a real IRA specialist in our office that's chatting with you guys. We're all kind of assigned at different days of the weeks. But reach out to us if you have any questions. Let me see if I can stop sharing my screen here. All right, guys, so just to recap on that, come join us at our mixers. We've got a lot of online webinars going on. And last but not least, be sure to join us at QuestCon Live coming up on December 3rd and 4th. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's main presentation with the one and only Brad Sumrock. He's based out of Dallas, Texas, but he probably spends most of his time traveling throughout other parts of the country these days. He's got a really awesome network of students that invest into apartments. He's got a really great mastermind that he hosts as well. And he's actually got a really great live event coming up for you guys in Dallas here in November. So Juan, if you want to go ahead and get Brad queued up, guys, if you have questions, post them in the comments and we'll be answering them live throughout the presentation for you. So Juan, let's go ahead and get Brad queued up and we'll get started with the main presentation.
Hey, everybody, and thank you, Quest, for having this event on Saturday. And thank you, Haley, for the introduction. And I'm super excited to be here today, everybody. So how's everybody doing? And I'm actually doing this from the Fairmont Hotel in Austin, Texas. So been doing a lot of travel. I don't know about you. How many people are doing a lot of travel? Aren't we glad to be back to live events, in-person events? How many of you are glad to be back to in-person events? Give me a thumbs up, put it in the chat. And so we did this amazing mastermind in Napa and then flew to LA and then went back to Dallas, and I came to a mastermind in Austin. So I don't know why I'm telling you that. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy to be on this virtual live event today. And I'm just happy to be doing live events. So what I'm here to tell you about is, and talk to you about for the next 40 or 45 minutes or so, is a proven framework for building wealth, a proven framework for investing in apartments. So if you're the type of person that could follow a recipe, a framework, a guideline, look, you could be successful. And I was just like so many of you 20 years ago. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be a multi-millionaire apartment investor. And I never thought in my wildest gazillion dreams that I would be mentoring and teaching thousands of people how to invest profitably with apartments and how to increase their net worth by millions of dollars by apartment investing. And that's what we've done here at the Sumrock team. Is hundreds and hundreds of our students have retired from their jobs, increased their net worth by over $1 million. And if I could do it and they could do it, then guess what? Y'all can do it. So if you guys are ready, I'm going to share some content and some material. And I just want to say again, not again, but now is an amazing time to be investing in apartments. Some of you participated in a free event that I did just a week or so ago called the Invest in Apartments Now Challenge. By the way, if you participated in that event, give me a thumbs up, blow up the chat box. And the reason I did this Invest in Apartments Now Challenge, and the reason I'm here today really, is if I could move the needle just for a few of you, even for one of you, and impact you, motivate you, inspire you to take action now, not wait for the market to crash, which may be 5 to 7 years. The real estate market is not the stock market, and all markets are not created equally. So this has been the most active year that I've ever had for investing in apartments. So I'm going to start by putting my money where my mouth is. This year alone, I've put over $5 million of me and my wife Jennifer's money into apartment buildings. We've already purchased as general partners over 1,500 units in 2021. I invested in 4 deals passively, and we have 2 deals under contract right now, totaling over 1,000 units. So by the end of this year, I'll put $7 million of me and my wife's net worth into apartments and have purchased as general partners over 2,500 doors and also invested passively in 4 or 5 deals. So I'm going to share my screen and just show you that. And just bear with me. Yeah, so this is what we've done, okay? In January, I partnered up with Madeira Residential. Maybe some of you invested in some of these deals. Partnered up, did a $123 million deal in Houston, 620 units. Later that year, or later this year, we did 264 units in Tyler, 150 units in Euless. In that deal, me and my wife are the majority owners with 2.5 million invested. Bought an A-class deal in Uptown Dallas, right within walking distance of where I live. Invested as an LP in Richardson. bought another deal in Houston, 324 units as a GP, invested 350 as an LP with Madeira. I have 250 is non-refundable money with a deal in St. Pete, Florida right now. And I'll put 750 more in before we close. And what's not on here is a 5-property portfolio that we have under contract. And me and my wife are putting $1 million in that deal. So actually I was wrong. It's not 7 million, it's over $7.5 million. And then you can see we've sold some deals and have some capital gains, and we refinanced the deal. So I'm here to tell you, just to set the table, this has been by far in my 20-year history, the most active year ever in investing in apartments. And some people were like, well, Brad, aren't you worried? You know, cap rates are low, prices are high. No, I'm worried about not owning enough real estate. You see, the biggest mistake I've made in the past 20 years is going too slow. And my mentors, I look at people that have 2, 3, 4 times as much doors as I do, and I look and watch at what they do. Tony Robbins says, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. And when I see people that I admire, that I look up to, that I learn from, that are putting their foot on the gas and not on the brake, they're putting their foot on the gas. I'm putting my foot on the gas. My students are putting their foot on the gas. Rents have gone up in many of these markets 10, 15, 20%. We're borrowing money at 3%. Inflation's at 7%. I mean, here's the deal. If rents have gone up 20% and we're borrowing money at 3%, it's hard not to make money right now. And that money you have sitting in the bank or in an account is going down in value. And the sooner you put it into an asset that is valued by income, like apartments, the value of these assets is going up as inflation goes up. The value of the asset is going up as rents go up. Okay. So your cash or your cash accounts is going down in value. Your apartment investments, as soon as you invest in apartments, they are going up in value. So if you get nothing else from what I'm going to share with you today, is you got to get your money out of cash and put it into an inflation protected asset. Okay. And when we use debt to acquire these apartments, which we do, usually 20 to 30% equity, 70 to 80% debt, you're going to be paying back today's debt with tomorrow's dollars, and tomorrow's dollars are going to be worth less than they are today. So you're winning there as well. Okay. Now, many of you have heard me speak before. I spent 4 years getting a degree, studying hard, getting good grades. In today's dollars, that degree cost me $300,000. After being in the workforce and changing jobs, I went back and got an MBA. And in today's dollars, that was $75,000. And what did that give me? It gave me a job paying $120 a year. I thought I had security. I was insecure. I was fired once. I was laid off once. I never felt secure in 17 years. I worked from 8 to 5. My bosses told me I needed to come in earlier and stay later to move up the ladder, to be a manager, to be successful. I was told I didn't have what it took. I was told I didn't work hard enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't management material. It's funny, I wasn't management material, but I was a millionaire multifamily apartment investor material. And so have hundreds of my students that have had similar backgrounds, college, degrees, professionals. So are many of you that are working so hard, trading your time for money. So I'm here to tell you, getting a degree and going to work every day for somebody else is a lot harder than exiting the rat race by doing apartment investing. So I was able to quit my job after just 62 doors. This was my first deal. How many of you are in Houston? I lived in Houston 19 years, from 1989 to 2007. This deal I bought in 2002 in Pasadena, Texas. It was 32 units. It put $3,000 to $4,000 a month in my pocket like clockwork. This was my second deal, also in Pasadena, Texas, right around the corner from the first one. Put another $3,000 to $4,000 a month like clockwork in my pocket. Okay. After these two deals, I ran out of money. And that's when I learned the power of syndication. Syndication is when you put in a little bit of your money and use other people's money to buy deals that are bigger than you can buy on your own. And in a syndication, there's the general partnership group, and there's the limited partners of the passive investors. And I do both right now. Okay, I invest passively, as I shared with you this morning, and I invest as a general partner. And you could do the same. And I'm going to walk through the mechanics of how you do that and the benefits of being a general partner and the benefits of being a passive. Okay. Over the last 20 years, I've owned 41 properties. I currently have 21 right now, over almost 4,500 units, and we cash flow a lot. And I've sold now 20 properties, over 3,500 units that I've already sold. And we've turned millions of dollars to our investors. Okay, millions and millions of dollars to our investors. This is also something I'm really happy about. For the last 3 years, going on 4, because 2021 will be similar. My wife, Jen, and I earned before taxes 3, 4, 5, 6. This year is going to be over $7 million net income after all expenses. But yet we'll pay zero tax. We pay zero tax in 2018, 29, 2020, because we own enough real estate that we get depreciation, and the depreciation offsets our income. So how many of you would like to have cash flow? Type in cash flow right now. Type it in, cash flow. Yeah. How many people want to have their net worth go up and double 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x their investment? Type that in, 2x, 5x, 10x. Yeah, I see that. And how many of you pay taxes and want to pay less taxes down to zero and join me and so many of my students in what we call the Zero Tax Club? Type in zero tax. That's right. Type in zero tax. This is the opportunity that's available for you. Cash flow, upside, and zero tax. So my journey is 20 years of me figuring it out. Millions of dollars in costs of mentors, seminars, trial and error. I've done now 41 deals. And as a mentor, I have helped my students buy over 400 apartment buildings in 27 different markets. So I've seen just about everything, not everything, because there's always new and exciting things that I've never seen. But I've seen so many things because we've done so many deals with so many people in so many markets. Okay. So that's what sets apart somebody that has 20 years of experience versus somebody that's just getting started. And people always ask me, well, Brad, how do I get started? Well, you leverage someone else's experience. Okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here that if I can move the needle for some of you to not only inspire you, not only inform you, but mentor you and motivate you to get going and take action and follow a proven framework. Okay. So one of the frameworks I want to talk about is three things today. And this is a proven way to build wealth. Number one is, how do we think about money? How do we think about earning money? How do we think about growing our money? How do we think about investing our money? How do we think about not paying tax on our money or paying less tax on our money? Number two, we're going to talk about some mechanical logistics of investing. We're going to talk about some numbers and some formulas and opportunities. And number three, we're going to talk about mastery. And so if you could think differently about money as a result of today, if you could understand some of the mechanics of how you're going to invest and how the numbers work, and if you could think about and master, I say master mastery, well, we never master it, but if you could learn some of the steps to mastering something and shortcutting the mastery process, I'll have done my job today. So that's what we're going to talk about, these three things. So let's talk a little bit first about money. And I'm going to wet my whistle here. And hopefully everybody can hear me okay and all that type of stuff. So Robert Kiyosaki's book was the first thing that really changed the way I thought about money. This is the cash flow quadrant. How many people read this book? Type in, yes, I read the book, or Rich Dad. ESBI, E stands for employee. S stands for self-employed. That's do it yourself. B stands for business owner. That's where you have teams of people and you own a company and you're not the company. And I stands for investor. And this is four ways we can make money. We can make money as an employee, as a self-employed operator, that's a do-it-yourselfer. We can make money as a business owner, and we can make money by investing in businesses. And Robert taught me that B's and I's have more freedom. They could live life on their own terms and they pay less tax. So my whole life, up until I read this book, I was 35 before I picked up this book. I was on the E side and I always wanted to be an S. And then after reading this book, I wanted to be a B in the I. And it's funny because I look at my life right now and I make money two ways. I invest in buildings and I have a business. I have arguably the number one apartment investor education, mentoring, and mastermind platform in the United States. And I have a team of people supporting me in that platform. So it's interesting how by reading one book 20 years ago, by getting educated and then taking massive action could change the trajectory of your life. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. Like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, your life will be different if you just make a decision and take action. That's all it takes. Make a decision and take action. Who's with me? Who wants to be a millionaire apartment investor? Blow up the chat and let's start making some decisions now, not tomorrow, now. And me and my team are here to help you. The next thing you got to think differently is bigger. My mentor, Grant Cardone, taught me to think bigger. He talks about 10X. Okay, I used to be happy if my income grew 10%, if my net worth grew 10%, if I bought 10% more units, going from a 200 unit to a 220, that was a big deal. I went and had one meeting with Grant Cardone. He said, you're not doing big enough deals. Grant didn't teach me about how to buy apartments. He taught me I'm stuck in my head and I'm buying deals that are in my comfort zone. I was doing $20 to $30 million deals. And after my first session, I went out and bought a $123 million deal raised $46 million and got an $80 million loan. That was after one meeting. So 10X is a way of thinking. It's thinking bigger and taking bigger actions. So I'm here to just tell just about everybody here. And I don't know most of you, I know some of you, but I could argue and bet that just about all of us, including me right now, we're all still playing too small. We're thinking too small. We're playing too small. So I want to challenge you to think bigger and take bigger action. So who's up for 10Xing their thoughts and their actions? Type in 10X now. Let's go. Let's do it. I love it. I love it. The rich. This is another, the way we think about money. See, the rich people, and I want to be rich, and I consider myself rich now, but there's so many different levels of rich that I'm not there yet all the time. See, the rich invest money to save time. And the poor and the middle class, they invest their time to save money. It's not exactly what this says, but like, I was doing this mastermind in Napa, and I was invited to speak in LA. And I needed to be in LA the next day after being in Napa. And I'm like, Napa, there's no commercial airport in Napa. You got to go to Sacramento or San Francisco and then fly to LAX. And then I had to get up in the valley, San Fernando Valley. And there was no way I could complete my obligation in Napa and be in LA the next day to speak. The only way was if I flew private. I was able to fly from the Napa County Airport 9 minutes from my hotel and fly into Van Nuys Airport, which was right next to the venue. And I was able to be, I was at my Napa hotel to the venue in an hour and a half. And I was able to speak like I'm speaking to you here virtually from this hotel, but I was able to be there in person in front of 120 people. And 40 of those people out of 120, 40 out of those people are going to be coming to my 3-day event in November. It's the same 3-day event I'm going to offer to you today in Dallas, learning from me each day, November 19, November 20, 21 in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to invite all of you to that event. And I invited 120 people in LA to come to that event, and 40 of those people bought a ticket. You see, if I didn't invest my money to save time, I couldn't have influenced those 120 people. I couldn't have impacted those people. So I invested time. Sorry, I invested money to collapse time. And I keep working on that, because that flight cost me $7,300 for a 45-minute flight from Napa to Van Nuys Airport. But truthfully, we'll probably make more than that, okay, from the business that we'll end up doing and helping these people that we met in LA. So just think about that. Anything you can do to save time is an investment. I'll say that again. Anything you can do to save time is an investment. And what I was taught to do was give up my time for money, working for a salary, working for an hourly wage. Okay. So hopefully this is going well. So we've covered part of the framework. We've talked about how we think about money. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is some mechanics. And I'm going to talk about, oh, I forgot this slide. This is the thing with how we think. Every successful person I've ever met has a very strong why. They don't ask how they're going to do something. They make a decision and they have a why. So why did I commit and make a decision to be an apartment investor 20 years ago? Well, number one, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then I got on this path to personal development. And everybody that I admired 20 years ago, I found out that everyone I looked up to, everyone I wanted to mentor under, everybody that I wanted to be like, none of them were playing it small. None of them were playing safe. None of them were being considered logical. None of them were reasonable. They all were like obsessed, passionate. They had this burning desire. And you see, I had this burning desire in 2001 to exit the corporate rat race. I was so tired. I had worked for 5 companies in 17 years. I had been fired. I had been laid off. I had worked for bosses that I didn't like and didn't admire and didn't want to be like. I was told I couldn't take vacation over Christmas and New Year's because I didn't meet my sales quota. I was not living life on my terms. Ask yourself right now, where are you at in your life? Like, let's say you're 40. At some point earlier on in your life, when you were 16, 18, 20, you had a dream of what your life was going to be like when you were 40. You had a dream of how much money you were going to be making. You had a dream of where you're going to be living. You had a dream of who you're going to be living with and where you're going to be living. You had this dream that maybe you've given up. You had this dream that maybe your life isn't matching right now. Well, here's the good news. It doesn't have to be a dream. You just need to get clear on what you want and why you want it. You see, in 2001, I was so fed up that I was desperate. I wanted to exit the rat race so bad. I wanted to live life on my terms so bad. I wanted to have cash flow paying for my lifestyle so bad, so that I never had to work unless I want to. And I was retired within 3 years. I retired from a life I didn't like into a life that I love. People say, oh, Brad, you're working right now. Well, yeah, I'm doing something I love, so it ain't work. So in 2001, my salary was $10,000 a month. And my financial freedom number, which I'm going to ask you to come up with, what is your financial freedom number? That is, what is your number to get out of the rat race? What is your number to walk away from a life that you don't want and retire into a life that you love? What is that number? For me, it was $10,000 a month. If you know what your financial freedom number is, this is that number that if you had that money coming in each and every month like clockwork from your investments, that you wouldn't have to work unless you want to. What is that number? Please share that number now. All right. I want to talk about some mechanics. And the mechanics are different ways to invest in apartments, different ways to invest. And then we'll talk about mastery, and then we'll wrap it up. So the different ways to invest in apartments are, you could buy your own deal with your own money. And by the way, that's how I started. I bought 32 units and then 30 units, but I ran out of money. So virtually every deal I've done after that, I've done inside of a syndication. And inside of a syndication, there's the general partner or the deal sponsor, and then there's the passive investors. And there could be one general partner, but the way I like to do it is I like to have maybe 2 or 3 people that are going to be the general partners. And that this way we divide up all the responsibilities of the general partner. And their responsibilities are, you know, finding the deals, underwriting the deals, touring the deals, raising the capital, securing the debt, doing the due diligence, dealing with the investors, sending out reports after closing, doing the rehab, doing the asset management, handling insurance claims. That's a lot for one person, but that's why like in every deal that I do, I usually have 1 or 2 other general partners and we divide up the workload. So now you know that you don't have to do all the work yourself as a general partner. And then you may have 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 passive investors. Okay. So that's the framework that I like to teach and that I like to do myself, is the syndication model. Okay. So in the syndication model, I'm going to walk through how we make money. Okay. I'm going to walk through some numbers. But the base case I'm going to start off with is buying our own deal with our own money. So we're going to do an example deal, $10 million, 100 units. So rule of thumb number one is you need about 30% down. Now that's $3 million. Now, by the way, this is why many of you are going to syndicate, because most of you don't have $3 million. But see, before today, maybe you'd said, hey, Brad, I can't do a $10 million deal because I don't have the 20 or 30% down, but I'm going to show you how you can do it with like 50 grand. But right now, this is just going to be our base case. So on a $10 million deal with 3 million down, we're going to assume we make 10% return. So that's a 300,000 a year cash flow. We're going to assume that we're going to sell the deal at the end of year 5 and make a 50% gain on our money. So 50% gain on 3 million is $1.5 million. And then we're going to assume that if we bought the deal down payment with cash, that we're going to get depreciation and tax savings. Okay. So if you're asking how I came up with all these numbers, well, I don't have time to explain that now, but these are some of the things that I cover in much more detail in my 3-day event that I'm going to invite you to. Okay. So again, in this base case, just take a screenshot of this, and some of you are following it. Maybe some of you I'm going too fast, but your 5-year return would be 100%. Okay. You get 10% a year in cash flow for 5 years, and then 50% gain when you sell. Now, when we bake in the tax benefit, your return is going to be higher. So, by the way, where am I getting these returns? These are not guaranteed. These returns over the 20 years that I've been doing this are not, again, some are higher, some are lower, but they're fairly typical for a well-purchased and well-financed and well-managed property. Okay. So that's your base case. So I'm going to talk about the benefits of passive investing. So we see at the top of the slide, we have the base case assumptions. But here as a passive investor, we're going to assume that you invest 50K as a passive, and that could be with your IRA, your Quest self-directed IRA, or it could be in cash. And we're going to assume that all the profits that come out of the deal, the cash flow and the sales proceeds, are going to be split 80% to the passive investors and 20% to the general partners. So if the deal returns 10% total cash flow, well, 8% of the 10 goes to the LP, so that's 4,000 a year, and then 20% goes to the general partner. You sell the deal in year 5 and you get a 50% return on 50,000. So that would be 25,000, but it's split 80-20. So the passive gets 20,000. Okay. And then if you're a cash investor, there's going to be a depreciation benefit that would be allocated to you. So as a passive investor over 5 years, using these numbers, again, these are not guarantees. These are not promises. This is not any specific deal. This is an estimate of what one may earn as a passive investor over 5 years, is about a 16% average annualized return or an 80% total return. Okay. So that's being a passive investor. Now, by the way, as a passive investor, you don't have to do the work. You don't have to find the deals. You don't have to analyze the deals. You don't have to raise the money. You don't have to secure the loan. You don't have to manage the asset. So all you have to do as the passive investor is get educated and find the GP. So if you're passive, that's your job. But that's why it's important to come to an event like the one I'm doing in November, is because number one, you're going to get educated. And number two is you're going to meet a community of investors. You're going to meet people that are doing the deals. Okay, so that's the benefit to you. Now, how many of you want to 10x your money and not just 1.8x your money? So if you want to 10x your money, type in the chat 10x, type it in. Come on, 10 times, type it in. That's right, you all want to go faster. And the way you go faster is by being the GP. You're going to be the general partner of the deal. Okay, this is how you go faster. This is how you go faster. So the rule of thumb is the GP is going to make 10 or 20 times more on the same deal because you get paid 4 ways. See, the passive only gets paid a return on their money, and you get paid the same return as the passive on your money. But the GP gets additional carried interest. That's a disproportionate share of the cash flow and sales proceeds. The GP gets an asset management fee. And the GP a lot of times gets an acquisition fee and sometimes even a disposition fee, okay? So I didn't even show all the ways a GP could possibly get paid. But how many of you get now that the GP, in exchange for doing all the work, finding the deals, raising the money, managing the deals, managing the investors, securing the debt, that in exchange for doing that and their track record, that they're going to get paid in a lot of different ways. So that's what I want you to understand. So if we just look at this chart and we compare the returns that the GP would get versus an LP, well, here's an example. We're looking at the same $10 million deal with an 80-20 split, and both the GP and the LP put up 50K. Well, the GP is going to get an acquisition fee. The LP gets none. They're both going to get a return on their money, but the GP is going to get an extra disproportionate share of the cash flow. So of that 300,000 coming out of the deal, the GP gets allocated 20% of that. That's 60K. The GP is going to get an annual management fee to manage the property management company. They're both going to make the same return on their money when the deal sells, but then the GP is going to get 20% of the upside. 20% of 1.5 million in this model is 300K. So check out how we 10 times our money. The passive investor's 50,000 ends up being worth 90 at the end of 5 years. The GP's 50,000 ends up being worth 910. You see, when my buddy Grant Cardone talks about 10 timesing his money, he's 10 timesing his money. The LPs, the people in Cardone Capital, they're not 10 timesing their money. They're making a great return. They're maybe 1.5, 2 timesing their money over 5 to 10 years, depending on the holding period. It's a great return. Don't get me wrong. You get cash flow, you get upside, you get tax advantages, but you get to choose. See, in the Sumrock program, you could choose to be a passive investor, but I could teach you how to be the GP. And that's what my passion is. That's what my 3-day event is all about. So now I have a question for you. How many of you would love to be the GP? Put in the chat GP. Go ahead, put in the chat GP. And how many of you would love to be the passive investor? Put in LP. Go ahead, put in LP. And both of you, or you could do both. How many of you want to do both? That's what I do. I do both. So put in both. Okay. So the reason I have this picture here is, Grant is a buddy of mine. He's a mentor to me. And again, what I learned most from Grant is how to think big. And so if you want to 10x your money, you're going to want to be on the other side. You're going to be on the GP side. And here's an example. Okay, here's an example. This is a screenshot from my bank account in February 2020, where I sold 2 deals I was a GP in. On February 5th, 2020, we sold Kelly Crossings in North Dallas. I put in 100K and I got 887 out. And I was one of 3 GPs. There were 3 of us. And so my third of the share that was what I got on the sale. And we sold the Woodhill properties in Denton, Texas. And again, I put 100,000 in that deal. There were 3 GPs and I got 800,000 out of that deal. So by being on the general partner side, this is how you're going to build wealth, generational wealth for you, your family, your family's family. Okay, that is the secret to doing that. So I love this quote here. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. Now the government's printing money. Your cash is going down in value, but all the buildings that me and my students own are going up, 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 and we're getting rich. So when do you want to get started? Type in now. If you're ready to get started, type in now. Go ahead, type in now. Even if one of you type in now, I'm going to be happy that I could influence one of you to start taking action. And my friend and mentor, Grant Cardone, he says, never, never, never lower your target. You always increase your actions. So if you're ready to increase your actions, type in yes. Come on, we're interacting here. Go ahead, type in yes. And here's my promise to you. November 2022, if you hadn't gotten started, you're going to regret it. Those of you that make the decision to get started, I want you to know somebody that was on this training today that didn't make that decision, and you guys stay in, write down and connect with each other in a year from now, and one of you are going to be very happy and the other one of you are going to regret it. And this is the beauty of life. You get to choose. You get to choose your path. So here's the deal. I want to mentor you for 3 days. I told you I was going to invite you to a training event. And this event is in Dallas in person, and we have a virtual option. Okay, it's November 19, 2021, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Dallas, Texas. And what is it that we're going to do, and what is the event, and what isn't the event? Well, number one, it's 3 days with me. I'm the main instructor. And I'm going to teach another framework, the 4-step apartment investing framework. I'm going to teach you how to understand the deal. So you know how to analyze deals. I mean, you're going to understand what makes a good deal and what doesn't make a good deal. You're going to know how to find and analyze deals, and then you're going to learn how to fund them with equity and debt. And then you're going to learn the steps required to close them. And you're going to meet hundreds of other people that are in the room that made the same commitment you are. So you're going to start to form a network of investors, a community of investors. And some of these people are going to be people that you might be doing business with in the future. And I'm going to have some of my providers there, like Quest IRA. And I'm going to have a lender, I'm going to have an attorney. So you'll be able to start building your team. And all of this is happening November 19, 2021. Now, here's how much the weekend cost you, or like I like to say, invests. Okay. See, I said the rich invest money to save time. And by investing a little bit of money in 3 days of your life, you're going to learn what I've figured out over 20 years. And I'm going to teach you as much as I can of what I've done in 20 years in 3 days. Okay. So number one, we have a virtual option. because I know some of you are still not wanting to travel, or maybe you're not able to travel. And so we have a virtual option, and just take a screenshot of this. I'm not going to read every box here. So the 247 is the virtual option. Now we have two in-person options. We have general admission and we have a platinum. Now, the cool thing about platinum is Damon John is going to be a special guest. Damon John, we're going to do a pitch off. All of the platinums are going to be eligible to pitch Damon John on apartment investing. Now, the last time we did this, the couple that won got connected with Damon, and he's talking about investing in their deals. And all the people in platinum, you're going to sit in the front rows, and I'm going to do a bonus day 4. So the platinums are going to put you on a bus on day 4, and I'm going to show you some of my properties in Dallas and take you on a site visit. Okay. And we're going to do some cool things like lunches and VIP events and stuff like that for you as well. So here's the thing. For those that take action, okay, we have, what is today? Saturday, November 6th. Until midnight tomorrow, midnight on November 7th, these prices are going down for you. 97, 297, 697. You'll never come to a Sumrock 3-day event for lower than that. You'll never get the opportunity to pitch Damon John. You'll never get the opportunity to learn my 4-step framework, and you'll never get the opportunity to meet my providers and so many other investors for less than the cost of like a really nice dinner and a fine bottle of wine. And that nice dinner and a fine bottle of wine, that pleasure is going to last you 2 hours. And this information could last you a lifetime. I'm serious. It has for thousands of other people. So why can't it for you? Okay. So I invite you to come leverage what I've done for the last 20 years. And I'm going to pack it in to a jam-packed 3-day event. And I'm just telling you, I'm setting the expectation high for you. I want you to come in with high expectations, and I'm going to exceed them. I don't do this under promise, over deliver crap. I'm going to set your expectations high, and I'm going to exceed them. Okay, that's my commitment to you. For those that make this investment, I don't take it lightly. It's not just the money, it's your time. So for those that are ready, you could take a picture and scan with your iPhone right now. Take out your phone. Mine's charging here. Take out your phone and here, let me show you what to do. You know what to do. You grab your phone and you take a picture of that QR code, and it opens up your phone to the registration page. And then you just scroll down and you pick the virtual. Okay. You pick the VIP platinum. So you could pick and you could register right now. And I'm just telling you, the special pricing is available until midnight, Sunday, November 7th. And I'm just going to conclude by saying I would be honored, excited, and humbled to mentor you, to be your personal mentor for 3 days, November 19, 2021. So who's coming to Dallas? Let me see who's coming to Dallas. Put in the comments, who is coming to Dallas, or who am I going to see on that virtual screen? Type in me. Type in me. I want to see it. Type in me, grab your tickets, and I'll see you soon. And now we're going to do some Q&A with Crystal Lee Thomas, my right-hand person. She's going to be on to answer any and all questions you have about anything that I covered and about the 3-day event. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Quest. I want to thank Haley, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did, and I'll see you all in Dallas. Bye for now.
Awesome, Brad. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Guys, again, if you have questions, we do actually have Crystal Lee. She is a very vital part of Brad's team. She also syndicates deals herself. She'll be on to answer any questions for you guys. And if you enjoyed this class, be sure to share it with your friends, let them know. And we are really excited for Brad's next event. It'll be November 19th through 21st in Dallas, Texas. But yeah, that's all we've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the class. Be sure to join us for our next upcoming mixers, our webinars that we host every Tuesday and Saturday right here on our YouTube platform. And be sure to visit our website for the whole schedule of events. And last but not least, we will see you all at QuestCon Live Forecasting 22 on December 3rd and 4th. So y'all have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll see you in the next webinar.